Well, hello. Today I'm going to do a bit of a different type of video. I am indoors today. The weather is kind of cold and dreary today. It's January 2nd. And I thought I'd take just a little bit of time to go over some map navigation skills and how I do it. I like to keep things really simple. So this isn't going to be a real technical type video. It's just going to give you some quick, simple tips of how I navigate when you need to use your compass. A lot of times you might be out there and you lose cell phone reception, so you don't have Google Maps or your GPS device. The batteries die, and then you're kind of up a creek if you don't have any other way to navigate out there when you need to. So I'm going to go over some quick map and compass skills, and before I get started on the compass, I'll go over just a little bit on the use of topo maps and other types of maps. Okay, typical type of map I like to use is the USGS topographic quadrangles. Apologize, my maps are pretty well used and marked up and folded and cut and all that kind of thing, but I use my maps, so anyway, this will work for our purposes. But yeah, I like to use the USGS topographic quadrangles. This particular one here is a 7.5 minute quadrangle that covers a fairly decent sized area. I like it because it doesn't cover too big of an area, and the 15-minute quadrangles are going to have a much larger area and things are going to be quite a bit smaller. So down here at the bottom it has your scale information, it has some scale bars, and over here it's going to give your your declination that you need to set on your compass, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Gives the contour interval also down here as well, and we're not going to talk about that today, but just so you know what your contour lines, your intervals are on the topo map is helpful. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the compass that I use. This is a very old, well-used Silver Ranger compass that I've had for many years. Some of the features on it, it has this plastic plate on the bottom. Sorry about the glare with the lights. Is the base plate, and you have a ruler on each side. One is in inches and one side is in centimeters. Of course, you have your north, south, east, and west here, which can be turned, and we'll show you the reason for that. And you have your grid lines in there that line up with the north arrow, and I'll show you what those are used for here in a bit. You have a mirror and a sight at the top, and this mirror comes in real handy when you're sighting, and instead of having to look down onto the compass, you can tilt your mirror and keep sighting and still see the direction you want to go. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that declination I mentioned earlier. You can see it's down here at the bottom of the map, and that's the difference between true north and magnetic north, and you need to adjust your compass what it's telling you here. So for this, it's telling us 1 degree in 40 minutes. You need to adjust your compass so you maintain your accuracy when you're using your compass. We're pretty close to the magnetic north here where we're located, and if you were further away from it, you'd have to change yours quite a bit more. But I'll show you how you do that with this particular compass.
On this particular compass, there's a screw you can see right there, and this compass has a little flat piece of metal that fits right in that screw. If I can get my finger on it here, right here, and you would just insert that and adjust it as needed. I'm not going to do it because I already have it adjusted the way I want it, but got your little tool right here. If you lose this, then you'd have to get a small head screwdriver to make that adjustment. Okay, I'm going to go over a scenario that gives a good example of how to set a bearing and navigate using your compass and topo. And this example that I'm giving, or the scenario, is very true, and because it's one I had to use. It was a necessity. I found myself in. I was paddling out at Isle Royale National Park, and I happened to be in the Five Fingers region. If you're familiar with Isle Royale, that's the northeast portion of the park where there's a lot of bays, narrow fjord-like features, and lots of islands, and very pretty part of the park, but you do need to be very careful out there. And I was out at a campground on Belle Isle, and I was windbound for a day, and I needed to get back closer to Rock Harbor where the ferry service is, so I didn't miss my departure. So the next day, after I'd been windbound, I knew I needed to make a go of it and get closer to Rock Harbor, so I didn't miss my ferry departure. Well, the morning I woke up, the water was very, very calm. The wind had died, but unfortunately, a thick, heavy fog had rolled in, and you couldn't see very far out on the water in front of your canoe when you were paddling at all. So it became very important if I was going to make it to my destination. Basically where I was heading was my first portage. I needed to make sure that I was going in the direction where I came on land right at that portage, or at least close to it, so I could find it. There was one small island I was going to have to go around, but had I not had a map and compass, incidentally, this was back before cell phones, and I had no GPS, so use of map and compass back then was pretty standard anyway, and I used it quite often in my work. In fact, almost daily in the work that I did for my everyday job. And so I was very familiar with how to use map and compass, so it saved me, and I was able to paddle in those conditions. I really couldn't see where I was going. I was pretty much, blind, and but I just trusted my compass, and I came right out on shore, right at the portage where I needed to be. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Okay, the first thing you need to do is determine your starting location, which in my case was the Belle Isle campground, and your ending location, which in this case was my first portage at Lane Cove. Alright, so the first thing I did is I took my compass and I used the edge of it and just used it to draw a straight line between those 2 points, and I put some direction arrows on there. As you notice, it goes right through Cork Island, and when I got close enough there, I could actually see it barely, and just needed to skirt my way around it. and then got myself back on my compass bearing again, but I was able to come right to the portage where I needed to be. Okay, one thing I didn't mention on the topo maps are these grid lines that you see on here. These are northing and easting lines. So there's north-south lines and east-west lines on here. And those are going to come in handy when you line up your compass on your map. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is orient your map and your compass to the north arrow there. As you see the arrow pointing north there, line that red portion of your needle right up with that and orient your map with that using those northing lines that we talked about earlier. And also you can use the lines you see right in the compass wheel there. Next, orient your compass along that route that we drew earlier. Next, you're going to want to rotate your compass wheel until that north arrow is lined up again along your route. So I've taken the compass wheel and turned it, and it's lined up with north again. And so you can see I am heading south roughly 78, 79 degrees east roughly. Okay, at this point you just want to keep that north arrow lined up, and that'll keep you going in that direction you want to go. This compass has a sight up at the top, and that makes it nice. You can pick an object. In the case that the fog that I was in, there was no object to pick, so I had to keep it right, the needle right in that north slot there on the compass. And the nice thing about these compasses with the mirror is you can tilt it down, and without having to look down at the compass, you can see where you need to be. Okay, as long as you trust your compass and the bearing that you set and keep using your sight to get to your destination, you will get there, and hopefully you'll be right where you want it to be. In my case, the day I used this method and that fog, I was really pleasantly surprised. I don't know why I should be surprised, because I used my navigation skills and trust them, but anyway, I was able to. I came right out at the shore at the portage, and had I not had this compass, I would have been in a world of hurt. Even today, if you have a GPS or you're using some type of mapping software on your or app on your cell phone, you may not have cell phone reception, or in the case of GPS, batteries die. So always bring a compass as a backup, and don't just bring it as a backup. I mean, it does no good if you don't know how to use the compass. So take a few minutes to familiarize yourself with the use of maps and compass, just in case you lose the ability to use your GPS or cell phone. So yeah, it saved the day for me, and yeah, had I not had those skills, I would have been in a bit of a bind there, but I was able to make it to my destination and my ferry departure when I needed to, and glad I had those skills. Well, thanks for watching this video, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If I said anything that's in error, or I neglected to say something you think I should have mentioned, let me know. We'd like to hear from you. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I hope you're doing well, and have a great day.